All right, these tips are gonna help you speed up in a bunch of random places in your workflow. Let's not waste any time, let's get into this. Rather than appending, you can actually copy and paste objects from one scene to the other. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select this, right click and copy objects. And then over here, I'm gonna paste objects. And now we have those objects from one scene to the next. It's much quicker than appending. Say you wanna add one material to a bunch of objects, hold down Shift and select all the objects you wanna add it to, and then the last object with the material, select it, hit Control L, and then click Link Materials. And you can also do that with a bunch of other things like modifiers, collections, animation data, a bunch of really cool things like that. All right, my air conditioner kicked on, so I apologize for that noise, but we got to keep going. So you have one material on all of your objects. This is one from real-time materials, and you want to add some variation to one. Well, you don't have to actually recreate it from scratch, and this goes for any procedural material or image texture or whatever. So click the one, go over here to the material tab and click this number. That means this material is on 25 objects. You can click that there, and then just go ahead and make your variations. Then you click 24, make this blue, and now you can quickly add unique colors to each material, just like this. All right, so you have one object with rigid body and you want all of them to have the rigid body, and you don't want to have to select each and every one of them to add those settings. Well, there's a very easy way to fix that and add it to all of them instantly. What you can do is just go ahead and highlight everything and then select the one object with the rigid body settings that you want. Go ahead and hold down Shift and select it. That is what we're considering the active. Then you can hit F3 and type in copy from active. Right here, object, rigid body, copy from active. Select that, and now if you press play, they are all going to have the rigid body constraints immediately, instantaneously. But be careful, it can get really heavy depending on how many objects you have, but it's a really cool shortcut. All right, add-ons. Now the best add-ons are the ones that help you save time. So I'm gonna recommend a couple really quick. The Polyhaven Asset Browser is one I personally use constantly. You just drag and drop hundreds of HDRIs within the Blender navigation. It's amazing. Honestly, I really do use it constantly. HardOps is probably one of the most downloaded, most used ones for a good reason. For hard surface, it makes everything very, very easy. AutoRig Pro is an add-on that is constantly on the front page of Blender Market. Again, for very good reason, helping you with rigging. And my own personal add-on, Real-Time Materials, which has 290 procedural materials that you can apply to things in one click. I designed these materials to be materials you're going to use anyway that you would want to build procedurally, and they're already there, so you can just apply them very quickly, and that's really the goal. The goal of Real-Time Materials is speed and simplicity, but with really beautiful materials. I have things like carbon fiber, cloth, leather, general purpose like metallic and exterior, and even just kind of basic materials. Right now it's 25% off if you want to grab it using the code D3Spring on Blender Market. That's going to be going till the end of this month. So if you want to check it out, linked in the description. Let's get back to more of these speed tricks. All right, so this is going to represent a massive scene with a ton of objects that makes it difficult to select certain types. So say I want to select all of these lights, I'm holding down Shift, and maybe, oops, I accidentally selected, so then I got to click away. But there's a really simple way to select types of objects. So say I just want to select these lights. Go here to select all by type, and then I'm going to go ahead and click light. Now it's automatically selected all of my lights, and that goes for all these different types of things like mesh and data, a lot of really cool things there. Proportional editing is so useful. So say you want to move all of these objects together, move them around, shift them around, maybe add some randomness. Well, you could just highlight them and hit G and move them, but say you want to add maybe some variation, just make it look interesting. You can actually go ahead and just select one object here, go up here to proportional editing, and I'm going to hit G and use my scroll wheel, but I'm just going to move it bigger, and now you can move them all together at once. Maybe just scoot them around. Say you're running a camera through to something, just get them out of the way. You can move them around just like that. And go ahead and dig into these settings. They're very cool and pretty useful. All right, so if you're doing very simple Booleans, you actually don't need the Boolean modifier to do really rudimentary Boolean. So I'm gonna go here in edit mode, hit Shift A, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get in a UV sphere, and I'm gonna scale it up. Make sure the object that's gonna be doing the cutting or the Boolean is the only one that has the faces selected. Then you can go to hit F3 and type in Boolean, and then click on intersect Boolean, and it's going to do it for you. And right down here, before you click away, you have your settings. You can do union, you can do intersect, you can actually do swaps. It's going to do that. You have fast Boolean, interact, self intersection, all these settings are on here, and it makes it really easy to do really rudimentary Booleans. For the next tip, I'm going to stay here, and I'm actually going to go ahead and select these faces. Here's a really quick way to do some fun extruding. If you hit Control and right click, it's going to extrude to the cursor. And this is really cool. You can even use it for curves, and I'm almost kind of making like a duct system here. And now you can very easily do some really interesting stuff by hitting Control, right click, and it will extrude to your cursor. Very easy, very fun. Say you're working on a really cool scene, much like this one, where you need a sunlight, or you're doing some concept art where you need to work really fast. Well, Blender has a really cool kind of like custom HDRI sun that you can apply to scenes like that. So we're just gonna go back to this weird Boolean thing, and right here in the world settings, I'm gonna actually go to the render view. In the world settings, you can go from color to sky texture, and that is gonna add in your own sky texture in a sense, but it's also in HDRI and it's dynamic. So here's what's really cool. You can go ahead and change the sun elevation to make it kind of like a sunset. You can go ahead, you can change the sun intensity, the sun size. So right over here we have our sun, and you can change the size of it. You can change the rotation of it so you can get these sun animations, things moving around. You can also, again, bring that elevation up. The bigger the sun, the softer the shadow. You can also play with these settings like here, right here for air. You can play with dust. You can play with the ozone. And of course, you can play with the strength. And it's a very cool, very realistic sun that you can add to any scene you want. All right, so those were the speed tips and tricks that will hopefully help you with your workflow. And honestly, there are probably hundreds of these. So if you want me to make more videos like this about how to make your workflow even quicker, more easy, more simple, I'm totally happy to do that. Let me know in the description. Be sure to check out Real-Time Materials. It's currently on discount. Use the code D3Spring. It helps support the channel, and it also helps support the Blender Development Fund. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.